Big theme I'm hearing a lot lately from clients, particularly some of the ones we're working with, is how the business owner or one of the executives or senior leaders who have grown kids, right? Like 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22-year-old kids, right? Might be running $100 million business. And someone said it to me last week, but my daughters hate me. Built an extraordinary business.
Yep.
But at the expense and the sacrifice of his children. And another client say to me that, he missed out on the majority of his kids' lives.
Yeah.
Right? Super successful and financially, right? Came from dirt poor, right? Fought his way tooth and nail. Now is a heavy hitter, right? Killing it. And but again, the sacrifice.
Yeah, and doesn't have his close relationships any longer. It's one of the reasons actually I moved out of coaching at a high level, was because one of my long-term role models had said to me I had a fantastic career, like she had a fantastic career in a high performance sport, but she's like, my biggest regret is I missed my daughter growing up. And so you feel like you come to this point where you have to make a choice. So I think what we're trying to help people do is realize you don't have to make, it's not this or this. There's ways to blend it.
Yep.
But do recognize that when you're not always there, you can't build a relationship with somebody if you're always absent. You just can't.
Yeah. A lot of conversation around flex schedule, work at home programs, teleworking.
What's your belief on that, Greg?
So I believe everyone should only work half a day. Doesn't matter whether you work the first 12 hours or the last 12 hours, but you should only work half a day. I think it's a slippery slope. I think hopefully, and look, here's how it works with us. As you know, we all put in a lot of effort to show up in the office because it's too easy for us to not show up in the office because we're off site or we're running around or whatnot. But one of the things, there's nothing will kill a culture and relationships faster than a flex schedule or an at-work home program, right? If your company stands for relationships, right? If you just said it, you can't build a relationship while being absent. So, it's a slippery slope because before you know it, you don't end up making the time together important. That's the sacrifice. You know what? We all sacrifice, more everyone here than me, right? But traffic, the fucking drive times in Toronto.
Right.
It's horrible, and I'm very aware of that.
It is. So there's got to be a middle road in that, because you and I've had the generational discussion before, and that it's not so much generations, it's stage of life for people when what they're juggling outside in their personal lives, and how that affects what they can bring and show up as in their professional lives. So there's got to be a middle road where if we're also wanting to treat people as adults, there needs to be some allowance of flexibility in there. Yeah,
look, we're unique. I think we're very lucky in the way we run and the way we do it, right? I've had to manage a lot of my own crazy, angry child stuff in order to get here. But it's hard. I look at my wife, she doesn't have flex schedule. Now, if she needs to be at home with kids or she wants to take a day off or take a vacation, sure, she can do all of that, right? But, I think we're very fortunate and very lucky to be in this company, or to have the freedom that we do. Our business is also designed not to sort of come and sit at a desk. Even though there are certain individuals, certain roles that require the desk, including us. But back to it, I think the reason it works is because you, I, everyone else put in a lot of commitment to be here, right? People go home at 3, 3:30, 4. People come in at 8, 8:30, 9, 10, right? But
only you.
I was more talking about Paul, right? But back to the original. So you can't build a relationship while being absent. You can't build a culture and relationships and teams and intimacy and connection while being absent.
Right? Without enough time.
Without enough time. That doesn't mean you have to be locked in 4 doors 8 hours a day. But as it does say, and we do this a lot because we'll travel or we'll be out. I mean, we just we're out for the first week of December. It's a 2-day gig, but we're actually gone for 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's easy to not come in the office or call it on the Friday.
It takes you a couple of days to even get ready for your trip away. Then you do the trip away, which is usually hugely exhausting. And then when you come back, you got to put your life back together, right? So the best companies we know are those ones who understand that, okay, if I want you to continue to be able to show up well for a long period of time, there needs to be some understanding in the ebb and flow of that.
Agreed, right? But the question was, can we build relationships while being absent? And the quick answer is no.
No. Yeah.
Right?
So we gotta keep finding that balance. And I think
there's a sacrifice. This is a compromise. Like, you know.
It is, but it goes both ways.
Of
so
course
I think
it
we're
does.
constantly navigating. It's like I have said to a lot of people that we've worked with, Alex Bilodeau, his keywords, so he's the mogul guy, was stand tall, soft knees. And I love those keywords even for us in life, because it's like stand tall to know what you stand up for and know what's important to you, and soft knees to take the bumps.
Yep.
Because we're constantly needing to navigate
Yep.
where is my time most needed at this particular moment. What's your belief or your view around masculinity?
Masculinity. Okay, specifically.
There's a lot of discussion right now on
Like
toxic masculinity, and or the discussion on let's redefine what it means to be masculine.
Yeah.
To be a man in today's world.
Yeah. Man. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that. I think masculinity is under tremendous amount of scrutiny and challenge right now. I think in the world that we're living in, equality and sort of gender neutrality, it has really, in some cases, shaped, influences, impact might be a better word, guys. Right? I mean, there's these courses now that you can do as the guy, which is like how to be a man's man yet soft and cuddly, right?
Yeah.
Like it's this whole sort of spectrum of it's okay for men to have emotions. And I look at these guys running these programs and I'm like are you really do guys actually need to learn this stuff? I guess they do. I guess they do.
Well, I think humans in general need to learn, because there's, again, all this talk about being authentic and how much is it too much. And I think there's a lot of pressure on guys I'm supposed to be this guy who shows my emotions and can connect with you, but not too much.
Yeah.
Because if it's too much, then I'm not being enough of a man.
Yeah, I think this is all bullshit, but bluntly. I think, at the end of the day, you said it's more about emotional management and understanding versus whether you're a guy or whether you're a girl. I think maybe through traditional generational parenting and upbringing, there's been conditioning to not express your emotions, but I don't think that's exclusively held with guys anymore. I think, it's an interesting question. I didn't know you were going to throw that one out.
I know. But it's topical. And if you even think about, like, you have a son who's 3.5.
Yeah.
So what do you hope for him?
So here's what's interesting. So my son, by definition, is sensitive and nurturing. He's got that wicked, angry child streak in him, like his father. And I think what I try to raise with him is just someone that's going to be really aware and okay with things like feelings, emotions, expressions. My daughter asked me the other day, she said, is it okay if boys wear dresses? And I said, yeah, it's absolutely okay. And she's like, okay, good, because Rain likes to wear my Elsa dress. And I'm like, well, I think what Rain wants to do is he wants to participate, right? And you being his older sister and you having friends over, and when you're all doing dress up, he wanted to dress up. But Rain will as quickly put that dress on as he will the Spider-Man costume. And at that point, I think, it was one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to encourage my kid. If he wants to express or share or wear this blue Elsa dress, all the power to him. So I think, what am I trying to do to raise a guy
Yeah.
is just raise a good human. Maybe not so much focused on being the guy or the girl, but just you have a responsibility to show up in this world well. And we've spoken about this. The most important thing we can teach our kids how to do is think, because if they can think, they can make decisions. And if they can make decisions, they can survive. So as long as I send them off into the world with those attributes, then it'll be okay.
And to be comfortable with who they are,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
allow some flexibility.
But let me say this about guys. I think guys are having a very difficult time with this whole world of emotional management.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of regards, there's been such a bottle up
Yeah.
for emotions that you see it. Some guy started with me on the road the other day, right? Some raging lunatic. And, in the moment of clarity, I went, this is a dude that has been probably bottling his shit up for a very long time. And he needed to exhaust it, and it just happened to be what he didn't realize with the wrong dude on the road. Because coming back from where I grew up, right? What are you gonna do? Put down your window and yell at me? Like that's it? That's the most you're gonna stop your car? Like that's what it is. Like I grew up in a world where you pulled out a gun and you started shooting. Right. Even some places in the U.S.
Yeah.
You don't.
You don't engage in road rage.
You don't.
It's dangerous.
You don't. Look, we live in Canada. But back to this. This is a dude that just lost all emotional control because he's never learned about that. He's never understood how to deal with those things. So interesting times for guys. Right?
I think it is too. And I, with my kids, I'm trying to allow them to express what's happening for them too.
Yeah.
And recently one of them was told, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure they do.
Yeah.
They get to, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody cries.
Yeah. 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 Right? Who said that?
Just a family friend.
Okay.
An older generation,
yeah. And
right?
said it out of like a, hey,
And trying to help, actually.
Trying to help.
Because it's like, just be careful how much weakness you show.
Yeah.
Because again, culturally, from where they came from, this is not going to be okay.
Yeah.
But again, we hear those messages, and those messages get implanted or imprinted for kids, and then they think we can't cry.
Yeah.
Now, I was also told that same message growing up. Like, hold it together. Do not cry.
Yeah.
And I think it made me tough, but for sure there's been times when it was probably be better to talk through some stuff.
Yeah. I was raised with, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're going to cry, there's going to be a beating that's going to, so you, right? And you withdraw. I think, again, the reason we bottle up emotions so much, again, guys or girls, is because we've been conditioned to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And we talk about this in our training is let's allow that emotion to come out because then it's real, and then we can get it out rather than keeping it all in.
Yeah, we have to be responsible for how we get that emotion out, right? Because
Yes.
most people will take that place of blaming and attacking with emotion, right?